Asinivesele sinamukele masatla mahle lo mhlahlelweni Kusile Breakfast Show. Thank you for joining us this Friday morning. Nvuselako ngulungelele makakula. It is the 27th of October 2023. Kukumbuka ukuthi you can also watch this episode of the show on our YouTube page Eswatini TV. Sakumukela lapho ubukela khona umsakazo Eswatini TV. Balele lamhla lilanga lelihle singena elangeni lesihlanu lemsemelo omkhulu uchubeka ko lapha endaselitsini eSibayeni. Good morning and welcome. Goody, how are you this morning?
Philile mfambeni ngeva wena.
Philile, grateful to be here.
I'm recovering from flu by the way, but ngiphilile akusafani nase malangeni lamathathu flendlulile. Hayi lapho bengicoba lapho but nje siphilile sibonga nomsala wethu insuku ekutheni sikhona ukubuka nalomuhla. Indeed, it is the 5th day of the Sibaya Parliament, People's Parliament, esigodlweni elutsitsini. Lisuke lalomhla litabeli kumkhovetsheni njengoba lesuka nje ku-14 degrees Celsius kubheke ukuthi ke ligcine ku-32 degrees Celsius. Likhokha umkhovetsheni nje nemaswati solokubhekeke ukuthi akhokhele ukusetha inhlitiyweni tato akhulume lapha esibayeni umsebenzi usatawuchubeka kodwa ke nalomuhla kakusile breakfast show we do have an exciting program for you. Sithathukhulumisa emidlalo naphathizwe Msibi who is our in-house sports journalist kubuka nje imidlalo lechubekako lapha ekhaya eNingizimu Afrika naseNgilandi. Engilandi I think is where the spotlight is at going into this weekend, entering match day 10 of 38 lapho khona sitawubona 11th place Crystal Palace taking on the first place Tottenham Hotspurs esukwini ke to kick off the weekend really, which is looking to stay at the top of the log table. By the way, Tottenham Hotspurs yafuna kuchubeka ihlale lapha number 1, but it is interesting ngoba third place Arsenal, which is just 2 points behind Yona Tottenham, and they are facing a weaker side in Sheffield United. Le ibambe lapha emsileni kulamalanga at position 20. So it's going to be interesting because one could assume ukuthi Arsenal is going to have an easy win against Sheffield, which could possibly put them in the first position should Tottenham Hotspurs ibhajwe egamini yayo ke letayidlala esukwini lakusasa sitake sibone ukuthi kutawuchubeka kanjani konke lokho esitakhulumisa kabandi naphathizwe Msibi later on the program.
Anzike ngafa 6 lo muhla ekseni sidaba sina communications director losuka khona enkapaneni yahulumende eSwatini Revenue Service ngabo lesihlanu ke sikhuluma Donatini Ndzaba debhadalwa kwemthelo lamhla sidaba sibuke nje kakhulu kadi labo labasebenzela ema embassies nema international organizations lapha ekhaya eSwatini. Umthetho ke uyaveta ukuthi bona they are not subjected to pay as you earn lokubalekile ukuthi basubmit ema income tax returns. Sidaba sibuke lesihloko leso lamuhla ekseni na communications director Vusi Dlamini kuva ukuthi ingabe bona i-deadline yabo yokusubmita ama-income tax returns inini. Sidaba sinayo namhla ekseni at 6:30. At this moment asibukele ihloko ethamba imbili lo mhla ekseni. Sicala nje ngikubuka liphephandzaba iTimes of Eswatini sibuka ihloko lethamba imbili lo muhla. Indzaba lehamba imbili solengiyo indzaba ye-People's Parliament Sibaya public to rate 22 panelists through Sibaya app. Kulenye lehamba imbili ex-DPM Paul Dlamini response to unrest question. I wouldn't have stopped delivery of petitions. Says if he were PM, he would have accepted petitions through proper channels. Speaks of dialogue. More on that story on page 2. Kuletinye thamba imbili plea to King to free Bacete and Mtandeni. Kanti kuletinye thamba imbili auditors drink tea at Namport, fall ill, 1 in ICU.
Interesting submissions there by the panelists. Sisachubeka ke nekubuka leading headlines. Sibuke temidlalo Times of Eswatini this Friday morning. Over 4 million emalangeni for MTN League prizes. PLE's 3-year contract with MTN indicates that. Champions prize remains unchanged at 1 million emalangeni. On another one, Sihlangu is down 2 places on FIFA charts. Eswatini FIFA men's rankings since 2018. are highlighted there, kulama headlines. On another one, Grobler bags first hat-trick of the season as SuperSport United beats Real AM 3-1. On the international front, England crash at World Cup.
Nasibuka iEswatini Observer lomuhla tihlo lethamba imbili nakhona solonge iPeople's Parliament public rates 8 panelists, 22 panelists who presented Sibaya have been revealed, and former Minister Neil says rats behind drugs shortage would have allowed delivery of petitions ngokusho kwaliqoqo chairman. Kulenye lehamba imbili, preacher steals Bibles, cash and clothes. More on the story on page 7. Kanti number in bill also on page 7. Cop owing 15,000 emalangeni offers 200 emalangeni monthly.
Kanti-ke Eswatini Observer this Friday morning, kicking off those headlines is teams concerned about FIFA Plus app financial impact. Teams affiliated to the Premier League of Eswatini are concerned that the FIFA Plus app will have negative financial impact on them, as they suspect it will take away their potential of making revenue through gate takings. Kanti-ke kulenye ibuya ku-People's Parliament lapho khona ilunga lephalamende lasenkwene seli-urge-ke bantu labasha ekutheni bayi-prioritize indzaba yetemidlalo khona esibayeni.
Nasibuka Eswatini Daily News lomhla kungolesihlanu, shots fired as workers strike turns violent at Mbakeni Dam. Kulenye lehamba imbili, top Southern Eastern Africa post for Chief Justice Maphalala. Kanti lenye lehamba imbili, add schools to balance teacher ngekusho people ratio. Page 3 uzothola leso story leso.
Kutemidlalo Eswatini Daily News lomuhla ekseni. The recent 1-2 loss to Botswana yeSihlangu in an international friendly match has led the national team going down 2 places in the latest FIFA World Cup rankings. On another one, Birds manager wants out. Kanti-ke on the South African and international front, maybe Mapogopogo could be one of the greatest teams ever if it's a possible win on the World Cup final at Kusasa.
8 minutes after 6, Tawsasal Kefus Bay 19 Zabata Swati.
Umsakato wetithombe iEswatini TV utibophelele kuhlonipha nekulandzela umgomo wetekusakata loweluswe libandla letekuchumana eveni.
Ngephansi kwalomgomo sitimisele kusakata tindzaba letentiya ngaleso sikhatsi, tindzaba letide emagama laqosheme, letitsembekile, letitsintsa tonke tinhlangothi naletisebaleni.
Kusukela kutepolitiki, tetemphilo, tekulima, tetinkantolo netemhlaba wonke jikelele, siniletsela tindzaba njengoba tinjalo ngaleso sikhatsi letenteka ngaso.
Kanti kulo msakato siphinde sikulethele lonke luhlobo lwetemidlalo kusuka emidlalweni welibhola letinyawo kuye emidlalweni ledlalelwa ematafuleni kanye naleto letiqhamuka ngaphandle kwakuleli.
Leti tindzaba lowutiletselwa ngumsakato wetithombe iEswatini TV.
Onkosi mukelani nati tindzaba tesiswati. Tinkhulumo tesive esibayeni tingene elangeni lesithathu esukwini layitolo. Libandla lelikhethiwe ukuthi likhulume esibayeni ipanel likhulumise tindzaba letifaka ekhatsi kuntengantenga kwelitiko letempilo, imisindvo leke yabakhona eveni kanye nenzima lengadlalwa tinkhundla ekutfutfukiseni live nemaswati.
Ekubeni indvuna imemede ukuthi sivasa lesondzela esibayeni, emaswati avele enta njalo angena ngekhatsi esibayeni. Kusukela ngalwesibili-ke sive solo siyachubeka nekuphelela esibayeni nekudingidza tindzaba letibalulekile telive. Umthetho-sisekelo welive ugunyata ukuthi esibayeni kulapho kuthathwa khona tincumo letibalulekile telive. Libandla lelikhethiwe, ama-panelists nawo achubekile nekwetfula tinkhulumo tawo etinhlangothini letehlukene. Letikhulumi betifaya ekhatsi labo labake basebentela umbuso etinhlangothini letehlukene, emalunga ePhalamende latsandza kukhetfwa, kuyena labanye labasebentela tinkampani netinhlangano letikhona eveni. Tindzaba letikhulunyisiwe nguleli bandla tifaya ekhatsi tinkinga letike takhungatsa leSwatini letifaya ekhatsi kundengantenga kwelitiko letemphilo kunye nebudlangudlangu lobuke babakhona eveni. Lokunye labakhulumisile kusebenzisana emkhatsini kwemagala lamatsatfu embuso. Kwakhulunyiswa kutsandza live kukhula kwetindlela tekuholela tisebenti tembuso i-wage bill kunye nendlela yokubusa kwelive lekutinkhundla kubala lokumbalwa.
Kuhambeni kwami ngisaphila ngikholelwa ekutheni kuba kuhle ukukhulumisana nekwekuthi nangabe kukhona lokukhona noma ngumbuto noma yini sikuphendule ngesikhathi.
Kulena yaka ACC ngiyacabanga ukuthi yintfo lena kube bengiconze kweyana ngangithi yemabomo. Kunemthetho mos wabekwa ku-defined kuganga ku-defined ukuthi umlogangile wentiwani. Angisiva lesizathu sekuthi ngubani kumelwe ukuthi kufike Jesu kube ngiyena totaqala ukuthi le isicala isebenze. Ngiyacabanga kwekuthi kufanele ukuthi uhulumende a-insiste abambisane nema commissioners ka ACC kwekuthi ayilume. Into lesihluphako bugwala
lokuthi angehli uhulumende aye kubantu kwenda lolusito loludzingwa ngilesive lungafinyelele kubantu. Ukhanze kuthi bantu ufuna bakhuphuke baye embabane kuyothola lusito. Nabakhuphuka baye embabane bangasakhanzi nalolu tabasita sekususa umsindo lothide.
So le medical government stores ngilokunye lesakuthatha kumadla ngengwe. Sikhathi sako ngekubuka kwami ngwenyamanduna kathe saphela ngoba leya yimibele yekumunyisa abantu live lihlupheke. Ukhanze sekude imithi etibhedlela sekunjanjanyana nakulamanye amave singahlola ukuthi senda njani. Khanze sekufuneka bo direct sourcing ukuthi vele le mithi ingastorage ivele ihambe iyele etibhedlela emtholampilo lapho ifuneka khona. Ngoba uthi ubheke lokho ube uvathawu sekushiswe amaphilisi lasaphelelwe isikhathi. Akushiswe amaphilisi kushiswa imali yemaswati. Sinathi bekunene yinhlangano lesemthethweni lenemigomo yayo lenemalunga lamalunga sathi sinathi ngesingisi wakhelwa bread and butter issues abothishela. Nangabe kungasakhulunywa bo bread and butter issues sibheke phela kusemalunga asuku awu nine bekunene ayisasiyo ke yasinathi sengiyeti inhlangano te.
Inkinga letimbili enkulu kakhulu eSwatini poverty unemployment kucasha vele kufanele simbuka konke lokho mase sinesikhathi mhlambe sibeka amaplan kodwa vele kufanele simsebenza kakhulu khona kulungisa letinkinga ethu le crisis lelikhona. Le crisis ya health ngitawubekisa ukuthi vele siya spenda 2.6 billion emalangeni la Swatini ku health 10% wale budget iconza khona. Le maphilisi siyakhokha 700 million between 6 and 700 million siyamthenga amaphilisi amaningi kakhulu amaphilisi lokusithenga yona. Le nkinga nje la kuphi ngena amaphilisi khona akukhona ukuphuma legcineni la kuphi kuneliswati lomela amaphilisi akhe le dispensary shoti khona linkinga la ngakhathi. Ngitawubekisa nje lama gundwane vele baceda lamaphilisi eqaleni sisikhathi amagundwane ayidla amaphakethi emaphilisi nyalo amagundwane bakhulile bayidla amabhokisi bayidla amaloli lonke nje. So vele kufanele sibone system lenkinga ethu la Swatini sesinaso lamakati ubamba amagundwane lamakati simnika kudla sinika lubisi kodwa hayi abamagundwane.
Bafunzi abaniketwe emakhono bangafunzi nje lokhu lokuyi-theory kuphela but basinabafunza baphume barede kokuthi bangakhona kokuthi bakhone ukudiphilisa lokusho ukuthi lokhu kufanele kucale e-tertiary level nakaphuma lo thishela aphume a-equip kokuthi utawukhona kukhicida abafunzi baloku naye la kuthole e-tertiary.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kufuna vele kubuke lo mthetho ulungiswe ucolwe lokuthi ungaluma njani lelibandla lingaholi mahala nje njengoba kwenteka nyalo icorruption isezingeni elisedule even kodwa bantu ababoshwa ukuthi lokwentekako
sikacali kuthola ibenefit i-RSSTP liphupho lengosi lapho singakakhoni ukuthi singemaswati sigijime sifike kulo. The potential of that place isuka ibe kulenye.
Sive siphindze sathola nelithuba lokubuta impito kibo labakhethiwe ukuthi bethule tinkhulumo etindzabeni kubika Pholile Maziya esigodlweni eLutsitsini.
eMaswati labuya kutotonke tinkhalo telive etfule tinkhulumo letibalulekile telive ngephansi kwetinhlangothi letahlukene. Tinhlangothi letikhulunyiswe sive tifaka ekhatsi temphilo, inkhohlakalo, tindzaba temhlaba kanye nekweswelakala kwemisebenti.
Democracy isetshenziswa abantu labede kwabo sinekwethu ngetsini. Idemocracy ifana nesipele nawo imoto iphanjile.
Bekucela nje kulabakhubatekile ukuthi ake manje mayisathandaza ake manje sayicimete nje ngelitho linye lele linye selibheke la kulala bakhubatekile ukuthi manje kube khona ake lasakela yena lemabandleni noma khona ke leParliament nekwakhiwa live
nasabasa Parliament karathi ba shamthetho lemihla eParliament shamthetho phindze bavule imisebenzi letinkhundleni iyouth itathola imisebenzi nayo ngoba labasha labaningi bafundzile kepha bathola imisebenzi kube ngiloko nje lokwentwana lama-MP babe sebabhebhetela dlame.
Sicela ndunankulu lokungeke kwenteke ngalakushoko ngalangakusho kuphambane nelive lokusho ukuthi he should not in any way contradict ingwenyama. Sicela kokuthi kube ngundunankulu futhi lotawukwati ukuthi ahlanganise sive sibuye sibe sinye.
Sithandaza, sinxusa, sicela, sibonga, sitawuprovoka ukuthi kube nekwesaba uNkulunkulu eMaswatini number 1. Number 2, kube nekuthula. Kutawubuya phi na ngokwesaba uNkulunkulu ngokwenta umyalo.
Live sikhanze ukuthi belisime emasikweni nemhambo. Wakucela nawo lokho ngwenyama wathi ucela kube khona. Kepha namhlanje ngwenyama selisime emthethweni liyekelelo lo walakhaya umthetho kakhulu kulo wesilungu losebentako.
Mane uhulumende wakho letingezama nalabo gogo bababhadalele lama rates lamadolobheni.
Ucele kuthula la kuleli live la kaNgwane. Ngenhlakanipho uNkulunkulu la kuphe yona. Ngicela ukuthi uNkulunkulu akuphe emehlo ekubona. Kuthi kuthula angeke kube khona kulelive silosikhulu kungaka addresswa indzaba yemhlaba kulelive ikakhulu umhlaba nangu lekuthiwa maplazi noma ngema-concession land.
Asisakhona ukuthengisana nejiso likhandlela sekuthengisana esinye sikhumba mbangazini. Letitolo tetinkulu letikhona silosikhulu bathe sithengisane airtime khanda sebaqhubile.
Lapha eceleni kwakhe le-adzinzo ibhodi yakhe. Sicela sisabe sandla. Lapha eceleni kwengosi sicela kube nabosomnotho ema-economist. kube nebantu labakhona ukuhola ngelibhayibheli kube ne-retired judges hayi bantu bolonguwayinda lababuya le
besicela Mbakazithe lokuthi Mbakazithe lo ndvunankhulu ubese uyahamba uyaletha enkhundleni ayobuka nalamakhaya lamphofu ukuthi angasizakala njani.
Libhubezi lokungilona lodwa leli la kulelive la kaNgwane
Senzetha umbhobho mnethu mntwana
mane lisiside lisihawukele lide litawuphakamisa imap lokungiyona ingiyona ema-boundaries aboshifu kulelive
akabuyisele ndvunankulu tawungena emasiko e-primary level.
Asibonge sikubongele ndlela madoda kuthi lokwendile Eswatini itolo sibone intuthu namuhla sibona sive kuyasijabulisa silosikhulu kuleti inhlangano nemaphathi akukho lokunje awukhulumi emaphathini kukhuluma umuntu munye kepha namuhla ndlaliselwa sibona sive kukhona lesikwendayo emakhosi onke eSouth Africa bantu abenkosi tikhulu wena kunene kude iembo la ikhona khona ikulelive emaswati akakonze na uma ningamfuni wakunene hambani niye ngale sitawuchintana sibuye ngala ngoba angeke nikumele lokwangale kumetima sikhuluma namuhla ayisi ushaya umthetho lothi nitawukhona kutimela ngikhulume ngeParliament ngiloko lesikwendako namuhla.
Umlawuli wemandla i-Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority sewusayine sivumelwano sekusebenzisana nenkampani yakaSEDCO iRiaswa kanye neNyuvesi yaseSwatini labatawusebenzisana ekukhiciteni gesi longayinyukubeti imvelo. Lolu hlelo lwatiwa ngekuthi i-Africa Mini Grids Program kanti-ke lesivumelwano sisayinwe ehhotela le-Hilton Garden Inn eMbabane.
Lolu hlelo lwatiwa nge-Mini Grids Program luhlelo luhlose ukuthi kukhicitwe gesi lohlobile lokunganyikubeti imvelo futhi lotsengekako nasetindzaweni letisemaphandleni emaveni e-Afrika kufaka ekhatsi live laseSwatini. Umphathi wenkampani lengumlawuli wemandla i-Isera Sikhumbuzo sabetha ukuthi njengoba sekusayinwe sivumelwano sekusebenzisana kutawuvuleka namathuba emisebenti kufukuleke umnotho kunciphe netintuthu letilimata luthwathwasi.
Ikakhulu lolu hlelo sibuke ukuthi licale kulenye indzawo lesesiyibukile labathi kusemvundla khona ikakhulu ngoba leti indzawo leto akungeneki nangetimoto netinsambo tikhashane bese kuyadula ukuthi nebantu mhlawumbe basebenzise loyo gesi.
Mabhalanelo omkhulu etiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla Dr. Zlamini ukuthi leti inhlangothi kati chubeke tibambisane tisebenzisane kusayiwa embili.
We are really moving fast as a country.
Sihamba ngelitubane lelisetulu impela silive ekhanyise nemakhaya. Asifuni kube khona losalako abebete gesi. Kuteke lolu hlelo lube imphumelelo. Kufanele lusebenzisane naletinye tinhlangothi kute luchubekele embili.
Kanti-ke lebe basayina letivumelwano bathi kumele kushaywe ligoli la 2030 lelive lokuthi igesi longayinyukubeti imvelo ube sewumnengi eSwatini.
We do want to see opportunities being created in the Kingdom of Eswatini, whereby our SMEs are being holistically supported.
We need to double the renewable energy in this country.
85% welive laseSwatini sewukhanya gesi, kanti 69% wetindzawo letisemakhaya nato tikhanya gesi bese kuthi 90% wetindzawo letisemadolobheni nato-ke tinagesi. Etindzabeni kubika Giyani Msibiki naSikhumbuzo Dlamini eHilton eMbabane.
Tinhlangano tabosomabhizinisi tithi tenta tonke taba kwakha ematfuba emisebenzi nanoma kungahambi ngelizinga labalifisako. Labaphatsi baletinhlangano bavete lokhu ngemuva kwekuva imivo yesive esibayeni lapho sive sikhale kakhulu ngekweswelakala kwemisebenzi kuleli.
Njengoba eMaswati akhala kakhulu ngekweswelakala kwemisebenzi esibayeni, sikhulumisane netinhlangano temabhizinisi kuva ukuthi tona yini letiyentako kukhulisa ematfuba emisebenzi.
Kuyiqiniso lokho ukuthi asingabuki nje lamadolobheni, asibukele emakhaya ukuthi sithathe imisebenzi khona emakhaya. Leni kakhulu uma sizama ku-addressa le migration esiyibona abantu basemakhaya bagcwale lapho mathapha ikakhulu bosisi labancane bese ufa bo gender based violence eyendeka lapha ekhaya. So ngiyacabanga ukuthi lokho ukuthi isisuselo umnotho la uyele emakhaya ita-addressa lokunene. Inkinga ngiloko ukuthi sikwenta njani successfully, kepha sikwenta njani lokuthi kumele kuphangiseke ngoba the situation is desperate.
Sihlalo wenhlangano yabosomabhizinisi bemdzabu kaHoho Johannes Manikela uthi basenda emabhizinisi bayadzinga kwesekelwa kude bakhone kwakha leminye imisebenzi.
Le mali lenkulele enkundleni nangiqhamuka mina sekunale ncwadi lebuya kushifu angiyithole le yamali ngidowakhapha ngidocreate ngomsebenzi la ngicashe lamaswati ngoba leti indzawo lemakhaya vele uyaya kushifu uyithola indzawo ukhanze sofuna kuyakha kuyidevelop kulukhunzu imali uyithola ku.
Ngekusho kwelicwaningo lekubuka lizinga lekusebenta kwesive kuleli lweminyaka wanga-2021 lizinga lekungasebenzi liku-33.3% kanti kubantfu labasha liku-58.2%. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelisiwe Ndlangamandla eMbabane.
Tindzabeni temidlalo umceceshi welicembu leMbabane Highlanders Dumisani Makhanya uthi-ke unelethemba lokuthi imiphumela lemihle itofika masinyane kuleli cembu. Makhanya bekakhuluma ngemuva kwekube licembu lakhe likhale phansi ku-Royal Leopards ngamagoli lamathathu kulamabili emidlalweni lodlalelwe eMavuso Sports Centre ngaphansi kwendzebe ye-MTN Premier League.
Icembu leMbabane Highlanders akulihambeli kahle kulamalanga njengaloku kulemidlalo lesihlanu lesilidlalile kusuka ekuqala isizini selikhale phansi ngemidlalo lemithathu lancoba lembili. Leli cembu libeka ukhala phansi kuyilova evikini liphelile kanti emidlalweni nalo lelisuka kuyo belitholeneke neRoyal Leopard lenayo ifike yabashanga emagoli lamathathu kulamabili. Emagoli eMbabane Highlanders omabili ashaywe nguMusa Dlamini kanti emagoli ayo iRoyal Leopard aqhamuka enyaweni lalungelo Thabethe kwaba nguSimanga Masangane kanye naBanele Shongwe. Umceceshi walecembu Dumisane Makhanya lesikhulumisene nayo emva kwemidlalo uthi unalo yena lithemba lokuthi kutolunga masinyane imiphumela lemihle batayithola.
Yeah, ngicabanga ukuthi as you can see they played a very improved game. Ngicabanga going forward they are improving ngegame meaning kutawulunga kancane kancane kutawulunga. I know the results is needed but I like the way the team they responda ngakhona.
Kanti umceceshi welicembu leRoyal Leopard Edwin Matsebula uthi lona ke kube ngumdlalo lobelukhona isibili.
Ngabe game siqale kahle but sanelection 2 goals. That's sihlisa lethemba yakhona wayihalenda chale egoli lekhaya. After that happens ayikhupha ithemba zakhona chale lesithathu. Emva kwaloko after the red card ngicabanga ukuthi it was always going to be difficult ngoba i-team lesodaba asilula kudlala but I told the boys ukuthi abagcine le bhola kuyidlala ama-50-50 kodwa Highlanders uyashota as long as le bhola ingalanga kithi they are not going to score. It was a tough game.
Kanti kulomunye umdlalo iMbabane Swallows ikhonile ukudiphinsisela nayishaya insingizini ngeligoli linye ecanzeni egolini lelichamuke nga-Ayanda Gadlela. Lobekela umsakado weSwatini TV kutemidlalo ngiphathizwe Msibi emavuso kaManzini.
Lo muhle asibuke isimo selitulo sibahlo letimakethe sitabuya sichubeka nelihlelo.
Eswatini Lifestyle is all about inspiration, drive, and swag. Eswatini Lifestyle is informative and fun while covering all aspects of life, be it people, places, and trends in the kingdom of Eswatini. We got you covered. The focus is on the quality of life. Eswatini Lifestyle will spark your interest. Catch Eswatini Lifestyle every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Eswatini TV, Sibugo Semaswati.
This weekend, Eswatini, your official weekend party starter. Tune in for the best of entertainment. We're bringing you the hottest music videos and live studio interviews with your favorite celebrities. We're giving you a front row seat to the latest fashion trends as well as your weekend gig guide. Join us live on social media and call in to send your shout outs. Be sure to catch our movie segment where we review and give updates on all latest movies. Catch This Weekend Eswatini every Friday at 5:30 p.m. live on Eswatini TV.
Welcome back. Sibonge ukuthi sonke nihlasene nasi sakuvusela nawo losanza kusivulela tsa Friday. That kuthi on Friday sikhuluma tona tindzaba tekubhadalwa kwemthelo. On this Friday's topic sibuka bona labasebenza kuma embassies kanye na kuma international organizations lapha ekhaya Eswatini. Sitakhumula ukuthi bona ke ngekusho komthetho they are not subjected to paying pay as you earn kepha ke kumele ukuthi basubmit ema income tax return. I'm joined by communications director ka ERS Vusi Dlamini kusichazela kabanti nje ngakubhadalwa kwemthelo kwalabo labasebenza kuma embassies. Good morning Nkosi. Sibonga ukuthi you've joined us once again this morning. Sitekadona tindzaba nje tekubhadalwa kwemthelo. Kuma kusichazela nje kusinetha sithombe ukuthi vele bobani kahle kahle laba lesithi babhadala lo mthelo lwahlobo.
Asibonga lolu sivusela nakubo bonke babukele emakhaya. I think maybe the starting point is nasikhuluma ngalaba lesikhuluma ngabo lamhla sikhuluma ngabo bani maybe before we even get there. This is the time vele la sithi khona sibuka ngekwehlukana labo lesibheke ukuthi basilethele imbiko lesithi ngama income tax returns where they report ukuthi basebende kanjani during the course of the year. Umnyaka wethu ke siyakhumbula ukuthi ucala ngaJuly uphele ngaJune. So laba lesikhuluma ngabo lamhla stouts is those excuse me, is those that are employed by embassies, noma international organizations. Those are the ones specifically, those are locally recruited staff. It means nangabekisa nje nakungendeka ngithi ungilulu mhlawumbe uqashwe i-embassy lethithe noma an international organization. Nasikhuluma ngama international organizations sisho ikakhulukade ama organizations lafaka ekhathi ama organizations akamhlaba. Nayiqasha leyo embassy as a Swazi bakurecruiter as a local person ukuthi usebende khona. Lo mthetho ke uyaye uthi because when as an individual noma ke you are working in this international organization, the international organization is not expected to be deducting tax from you because they are an international organization within the country. Siyayisithema embassies for instance kufana nekuthi ngilelinye live within another country. So umthetho ke uyaye uthi ngeke baze abakavumeleke ukuthi bakubambele umthelo lesithi pay as you earn. But then because you are earning income in the country, we then expect that you must actually be paying pay as you earn. Ngilabokelele sikhuluma nabo ukuthi we then expect that at the end of each financial year, at the end of the tax year, kubhekeke ukuthi babale ukuthi bakhe imali lenganani during the course of the year, and then they need to pay the tax. So essentially it means those individuals ke noma lawo maswati lasebenza kulawo ma organizations kubhekeke ukuthi alethe umthelo.
Okay. So bona kepha usho ukuthi iminyaka wena ucala July uphela ngaJune. So bona kubheke ukuthi bawalethe nini lamaphepha response tindzaba deadline because assume ukuthi mhlambe lawo maphepha afake ekhathi nema pay slip kuva nje ukuthi vele ine deadline yabo nema documents lekumele ukuthi bawalethe ayini.
Because these are individuals, again, we say Emma returns bona let's say before the end of November, which means by the 30th of November they should have submitted their income tax returns, as you have mentioned, because we know that they have been working and necessarily loyo mthelo, but they can only demonstrate how much they were earning by including whatever pay slips that they have been issued by Leo International Organization. So those are the key attachments. But let's emphasize we will also know good say if it's me and you, sometimes you'll find good say not only am I working but in pinzangibena lenye business noma ke umsebenzi lengwenda ko eceleni nalapho kubhekekile ukuthi bese uyakufaka nako konke lokho kusho ukuthi wakhe imali etinhlangothini ngekwehlukana.
Usebenda kuma embassies noma international organizations, but you have a company as
yes,
well.
Yes, because specifically today we are talking to that, but that is a principle that applies to all individuals. If you are working and you are earning income from employment, but you've got another source of income, you are then expected to be submitting your income tax returns. But Igulabalamutla specifically, we wanted to talk to them because vele, even if they are not making income from other sources, but because they umthelo awubanjwa kubo njalo ngenyanga njengamnawe lesebenza in local organizations babheke ukuthi basilethele these returns.
Okay, so ngiyathi ngokuthi vele indaba compliance sihla vele siteka kakhulu on the show, and nani vele yinfo lenihambisa embili. Have you had any problems ngalabo individuals la sebenza kulama embassies noma ke ama international organizations things about the compliance okwenza ukuthi mhlambe individual X akasalethi ma income tax returns akhe seniyambhalela ingabe niyinfikeni lapho kulesigaba lesona yathola nama cases la kanjalo masibuye ne compliance?
Yes, I think it's true. First of all, we want to thank those that understand, because we have done various workshops. Sihambe siye ngekwehlukana kulawo ma embassies siphinde sakhona la sike saba khona na even some virtual sessions lapho besiba engage khona. We want to appreciate labo laba khona ukuthi basibambise siphinde sikhuthade nalabo laba solo kwangathi bahambela ngemuva. We do see some of them not complying, but we expect that we should all comply. This is our only country. This is the country that we have, and we are expected to all contribute. I will make an example, as I've always done in the past. Say, it is not fair for me and you not to contribute, not for anyone yet we expect to benefit from the roads that, for instance, the country continues to do, which me and you will be using to drive our own vehicles. It becomes unfair when there are people that have paid for that. So we are encouraging those that are working kuma embassies. Siyacela deadline umhla 30 November, as I've mentioned, and we do expect that they should submit the returns and make payments if they are supposed to be. In fact, not even if, because they are expected to make payments. Vele ordinarily, their employer would not give us any pay as you earn.
Okay, because as you did mention ukuthi umnyaka wenu uqala ngaJuly uphethe ngaJune, and ngiyacela kusho ukuthi i-deadline ukuthi basubmit lama income tax returns is November. So ngifuna ukubuza ukuthi in a case lapho khona mhlawumbe basebenta ngema contracts sesithi nje contract yale individual iyaphela ngaOctober and akasafiki kulo November le kuyi deadline, nakhona usakhona yini ukubhadala lo yomthelo? Sesithi nje uyagcina ngaOctober sobela mhlawumbe even lakhe deadline ithi November usengakabhadali, ngabe kuba khona yini mhlawumbe ama cases la kanjalo?
Okay, thank you, Lulu. I think the other thing before we figure up, let me clarify. Specifically here, we are talking about locals that have been recruited by international organizations. We know how international organizations would work. Sometimes they will hire people from abroad to come and work here, but sometimes they will hire local people to work here. This law is specifically talking to me and you as locals who are working in embassies or international organizations. So now if your contract and year expire, the year has ended, it already ended, so it was July to June. Ordinarily, it's le rule. Gufuna kutsina kuphela umnyaka wemthelo, which ends in June. By end of July, you should have submitted returns. But then the law also allows the Commissioner General or the ERS to then extend that period for over 4 months, so that it allows you for 4 months, so that it allows you the chance to then prepare pretty much everything, which is why lama deadlines bese abekwa embili. But otherwise the deadline yona mbambamba ngomhla 30 June.
30 June.
Yes, mbambamba ngomhla 30 June. So in the case of someone contract has expired, you will look at the period that they have worked from July last year to June this year.
Okay, so again, nje nkosi mhlawumbe kuva nje lama documents lekumele ukuthi better now as they submit their income tax returns, including the payslip, ngabe kukhona lokunye mhlawumbe lekumele ukuthi bak-attach.
It's basically the submission of the return itself, which is done online. Then they attach those payslips. We expect that if you are also doing some other business, you will obviously include a report or financial report of how that business has actually operated. If you have paid taxes before, for instance, you were making provisional payment, which we've spoken about at some point here. If you've made those provisional payments, we will also expect that you will give us those proof of payments, so that then we know that you will have to pay the difference.
So nabo ma penalties abakhona ayafanana.
The law is very standard, and good vele lo kwehlukako awubuki lo mthetho ukuthi ungubani, uvele nje apply across, and the penalties and interest, which again we say we don't want people to go into that, which is why continuously we try and educate so that people can comply.
Okay, kodwa nkosi your contact details ngalo ukuthi nina WhatsApp ne email lapho khona bamfu banganreacha khona kukumbuta nje sive ukuthi ngabe bangaxhumana nani kanjani.
We are available on WhatsApp 7606 3735, and sikhona na contact center at 2406 4050. Bangasithola ke naga Facebook. We recently launched our LinkedIn page also. We will be active as well there, so but siyacela ukuthi bawasebenzise onke lama platforms ngekwehlukana. If you want to walk into our service center, also do that.
Okay, just one last question, because your WhatsApp, is it automated responses? There's an actual service center consultant in local manas.
At the moment, we do have our contact center is managing the call-in line as well as our WhatsApp number. So it's a human being that is, we always say our logo, our new brand is about human touch. So we want to bring that human touch to whatever that we are doing. So it is a real human being that will be responding to you.
All right, Ngosi, thank you for your time this morning. ARS and yaga WhatsApp without my responses la instant. The second breaks buye in siqhubeke.
What do you think the best part of traveling is? Is it the food, or is it the conversation, or is it the sights and sound? If you're ready to explore, we are ready to show you the best way how. We'll give you access to the best luxury getaway sites in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and of course show you vacation sites that suit your budget, because you do not need a lot of money to actually have a great time. Join us on the next adventure on Buhle Bethu, only on Eswatini TV.
Are they yours?
Ngabukela ke washa umkhukhu every Sunday at 3 p.m.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show. You know the vibes, it's the beat down. The time is 8 p.m. It's time for you to relax, sit back, relax, and enjoy the music videos that I got for you.
Moving no direction, like it's a calling. When alive in the middle of nowhere, shake the ground and burn the air. So yeah,
Welcome back. Siyabonga ukuthi Soloni ihletsene nasi sikuvusele nawo losanza kusivulela sicabangana lahlelo sitawukhulumisana na Senior Communications Officer ka RSTP Senzo Malaza kune app ke lesevele seyisukunyisiwe yasesibayeni lapho khona sive samaswati sesitawukhona ku rate ama panelist khona kiyo le app la ngekhathi kule app nje yaka ABC le beyisentshentiswa lokhetfeni kepha ke sey updated selikhona hlangothi lapho khona ungakhona ku rate labo labakhuluma khona esibayeni sinaye lapha Senzo Malaza kusichazela bandi nje ngayo le app lomhla ekseni sevusela Malaza siyabonga ukuthi ube nathi lomhla ekseni sibonge nje kini ning RCP ukuthi nidi nale developments le noma ke le updated version of le app yaka SBC kuma kusichazela nje ukuthi isebenza kanjani vele nginebamvunjile baba solo bangaka download mhlambe le app kuma kusiniketa nje isithombe sokuthi download kanjani isebenza kanjani lena app le.
Asibonge Makagula sivusele nakumbukeli cha nangabe bese ayidownloadile umbukeli kulula uya update nje but nangabe bose ngayidownload uyakhona kuyidownloada Play Store noma ku DPD inhlelo tekuxhumana leti khona ukuthi download isema applications for those that are probably not using Android. Kutawubese ke ku landing page yayo nase uyidownloadile wafika ekugcineni ku landing page yayo seyikuniketa two options either ungena ku voting elections noma ungene ku spy wangena ke spy itakuvetela lama panelists lase akhulumile utawukhona ke kuwa rate iyakuvetela nekuthi bani bekakhuluma akuyiphi topic nangabe bongakutholi ithuba lekumbukela uyakhona ukuklikha on watch video ubese uyalalela before uyawumrate ukuthi nawubuka ukuthi kulesihloko lebeka niketwe sona naloku la kukhulumile ucabanga ukuthi ungamniketa emaphuthu langanani ngendlela la articulate ngayo leso sihloko.
So kule app kunalama panelists kuphela kukhona mhlambe ehlangothi lapho khona imivu nema questions asive afakiwe nje nathi cap noma nje kunalama panelists nje kuphela
kunalama panelists nje kuphela because le app ibuke kakhulu ku rate lama panelists ukuthi nasibuka ngoba wona aniketwe specific topics to address so sive siyafusa ke kwati ukuthi noma kubona ukuthi nasibabuka bakhone kanganani kunaka noma kuchaza ngaleto hloko labaniketwe tona ngako kucishe ku rate wabona naloko ukuthi ke kube besingafaka cishe tonke ekukhulume esibayeni bewungakhanza ukuthi sekuhamba kuba likhunyana kusebenzela kwale app ngoba banenge sive senkosi siphume ngetingane sinenge futhi lese sikhonile ukuthi bekela lesingabeka esibayeni ngako ke si concentrate ekutheni asinake nje lama panelists bese siyabuka ukuthi sive sisinikete naso lithuba ngephandle kwalaba labasesibayeni ukuthi bakhone kuveta ukuthi bativa kanjani ngabo.
So how soon after are the videos downloaded noma uploaded? I mean kule app nasicethe nje sikhuluma ingabe kuthatha isikhathi esinganani nje ukuthi ning RSTP bese nayifaka leyo video yaleyo panelist.
Kusukela namhlanje siyacabanga ukuthi as soon as aqedza ukukhuluma panelists as soon as aqedza ukukhuluma loyo panelist sitawukhona ukuthi si-upload i-video yakhe in probably not more than 5 minutes lokutawenda ukuthi as soon as kuqala lomunye noma ezasachubeka lomunye lona losakhulumile utabe vele seyikhona i-video yakhe sesikhona nekumrate sive.
Okay, so nasithi nje sive siya rate Malaza senda kanjani kumbe siya selector from level 1 to 10 noma siyabhala siya commenta ingabe wondeka kanjani vele kahle
le rating iniketa i-option yekuthi uselect between 1 and 6 6 being the highest 1 being the lowest so umrate kanjalo ke loyo panelist lokunye lokufunako nase urate ukuthi uya khona lapho kutawufuna kufaka inombolo yakho khona yelicingo it is purely to authenticate lokuthi ngumuntu mbamba lona lo rateako akusiko nje ukuthi khona lo se aganga akusho ke lokho ukuthi itawubese kule total tally of votes or ratings kutawo bese kuyavela ukuthi cha nangilungelele urate what kodwa nje the rating noma the results atawuchubeka abe ngawuthi anonymous ngoba phela stawuthi kucishe kuthathe le principle ye secret ballot kube besingabekisa ngelikhetho kodwa ke siyethemba ukuthi eMaswati atakuconza lokho ukuthi angeke ikuvumele ukuchubeka unga authenticate ngalokuthi ufake I cell phone number.
Okay, so ngiyathemba Malaza ngiyacela sabo sesibayeni itolo ngabe vele mhlambe sithini nje sive siyayimukela inivelele app ukuthi ning RSTP nje nesilethele lobuchwepheshe abaloluhlobo bathini nje bashabilile ukuthi nabo kukhona mhlambe labatakufaka kudoti incumo letitawuthathwa ngalokuthi bakhona lograte.
Sive siyayithokotela I-technology nje ke in general sikubone lokho kusukela nasifaka yona le application lena kusukela elikhethweni nanasesibayeni ke bevele kukhona lokubuta ukuthi hawu kudele ningasendela kona RSTP ukuthi sikhone kuba ingcenye ngoba ngeke sikhone kumbe sonke kuba vetela labo lesabakhulumile usho ukuthi awashaya noma awu ikhlulile le kodwa ke nasingakhona ukuthi sibe nendlela yekuba rate kutasisita kusisonzete ekutheni siparticipate sonke endzabeni yesibaya nekuthi babonakale labethula leto nkulumo ukuthi cha batikhonile noma bakatikhona.
So to umumvu okhona ku rate kanye.
Yes, ipanelist
with one number.
Yes.
Okay. So ngekhona ukuthi vele upheke ngena wende ngane.
Cha u rate kanye uchubekele kulomunye uba kuyakhona futhi kuba rate bonke. Akusho ukuthi unga rate munye socedzile. Bonke uyakhona kuba rate.
Uyakhona kuba rate like bonke ungene kubekise X Y Z ngiyabona.
Yes, uyakhona usho ukuthi cha kulo ngamniketa 4 lo ngamniketa 6 lo ngamniketa 3 lo ngamniketa 2 iyakuvumela le app ukuthi uba rate bonke nalaba labasitawungena nje lamhla nabo kutawuba ngisona leso utawukhona ukungena uchubeke uba rate futhi bonke.
Okay. So kepha lama ratings lawo akule app yaka ABC right?
Yes.
So nangena kiyo ngavele ngikhanze nama ratings noma mhlambe kukhona iupdates lekumele ngiyende yini kahle kumele ngikwenza.
Nangabe bosovele unayo le app yaka ABC kuyadinga ukuthi uyi-update kodwa nangabe bosengayi-download wayi-downloada wayi-installa masinyane na ungena ku landing page yayo ikuniketa lama options lamabili leku elections nesibaya siyathi ke sesicedzile ngelikhetho shothi sesibuke esibaya nyalo uclicka on sibaya now clicka on sibaya itakuvetela ke onke lama panelists so yakhona kuwa rater nangabe nje bowungawo i-download kwaze kwacala laba banamhla angeke kube inkinga itawuchubeka ikuvetele nalaba lebese vele bafakiwe ama video abo nabe bongababukeli noma ungabalaleli utawukhona kucala ngekubukela lawo ama video abo bese uyabuya ke uyarate.
Okay. So
itachensa futhi na ufika uthi cha bani bamnikete lase bamrate bathi unana maphuthu nanga.
So kutabe sekuvalwa nini ke lograte na kuphela sona sibaya noma nasekumenyetela ukuthi segmisiwe ku rate tawendekana
sitaw guidwa ngibo laba niko umsebenziwe kuchuba sibaya ikakhulu yena umngani ukuthi sebaphelile yini lawo ma panelists lo sekutawenda uthi cha sesiyema ke sekuyema ku rate ngoba sekude lomunye lese stam rate kodwa ke siyethemba ukuthi batasiniketa indication ukuthi nguphi noma kunini lapho sesingema khona ngekuthi sebaphelile yini labo labanikete ihloko lekufanele batikhulumisa.
Okay, kwagcina nje Malaza solo imahala hamo sikulabo laba solo bangayi-download i-app store naka Android.
Yes, solo imahala futhi ilula kakhulu ngalokuthi icishe akusilukhuni nalokuhamba kwakwendeki nje ukuthi sowumile solo gicika lisonvo le ndlela lesayenda ngayo sayenda yaba very light lokuyenda ke ukuthi now clicka nje masinyane kuvela lokufunako now clicka kuvela lokufunako now clicka on video ya panelist masinyane ikumikisa ku YouTube yobukela leyo nkulumo yakhe so yabuya ya rate.
Alright, no, ngiyavakala sibanga khona malaza mbukeli ukuthi vele ukuthi ikhona i-apps baya app lapho khona ungakhona ku-rate leso sikhulumi noma ke panelists lova ngazothi ikhulume kahle nema videos abo ayatholakala kule app. Mangabe ubovela unayo le app uyakhona kuyisebenzisa phakathi ngokuthi uyi-update kanjalo ke nangabe bowude uyayi-downloada udovela uyikhanze Sibaya app u-rate loyo lofise ukuthi lova ngazothi ukhulume kahle ngoba nama videos ayatholakala kule app. Asibathole emakethe nasibuya sidinza abantu ezingisi.
We at Eswatini Television Authority are committed to observing the Eswatini Communication Commission's Broadcasting Code of Conduct.
Under the code, we are committed to broadcast news that is current, free from hate speech, accurate, balanced, and fair.
From politics to business, health, agriculture, courts, and global news, we bring you the latest updates as they happen, when they happen.
We cover all the sporting codes from the football pitch to the chessboards. This is Eswatini TV News.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is the news at 7. The People's Parliament continued on the third day of the nation's submissions. Panelists that had been selected to make their submissions during the Sibaya have highlighted issues including health crisis, unrest, and patriotism within the Tinkhundla system.
After Indvuna summoned Sibaya, the public made their way into the Ketlibaya. Since Tuesday, the nation has continued to present pressing and controversial national issues. As per the Constitution of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Sibaya constitutes the highest policy and advisory council of the nation. The panel also continued to make presentations before Sibaya. The panel included individuals that have worked for the country, appointed and elected members of parliament, and individuals working for parastatals and other national organizations. The panelists discussed issues on national crisis and challenges like the unrest and health crisis. Another issue that was discussed was the cooperation between the three arms of government, patriotism within the Tinkhundla system, wage bill which continues to grow, and the way of governing the kingdom, which is the Tinkhundla system, just to name a few.
Kuhambeni kwami ngisaphila ngikholelwa ekutheni kuba kuhle ukukhulumisana nekwekuthi nangabe kukhona lokukhona noma ngumbuto noma yini sikuphendule ngesikhathi.
Kulena yaka ACC ngiyacabanga ukuthi yintfo lena kube bengiqonze kweyana ngangithi yemabomo kunemthetho mos wabekwa ku-defined kuganga ku-defined ukuthi umlogangile wentiwani angisiva lesizathu sekuthi ngubani kumelwe ukuthi kufike Jesu kube ngiye nato tawuqala ukuthi le isicala isebenze. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kufanele ukuthi uhulumende insiste abambisane nema commissioners ka ACC kwekuthi ayilume. Into lesihluphako bugwala
lokuthi angehli uhulumende aye kubantu kwenda lolusito loludzingwa ngilesive lungafinyelele kubantu ukhanze kuthi bantu ufuna bakhuphuke baye embabane kuyothola lusito nabakhuphuka bayembabane bangasakhanzi nalolu tabasida sekususa umsindo lothide.
So le medical government stores ngilokunye lesakuthatha kumadla ngengwe sikhathi sako ngekubuka kwami ngwenyamanduna kadze saphela ngoba leya yimibele yekumunyisa abantu live lihlupheke ukhanze sekude imithi etibhedlela sekunjani njanyana nakulamanye amave singahlola ukuthi senta njani khanze sekufuneka abo direct sourcing kuthi vele le mithi ingastorage ivele ihambe iyele etibhedlela emtholampilo lapho ifuneka khona ngoba uthi ubheke lokho ube uvathi awu sekushiswe amaphilisi lasaphelelwe isikhathi akushiswe amaphilisi kushiswa imali yemaswati sinathi bekunene yinhlangano lesemthethweni lenemigomo yayo lenemalunga lamalunga sathi sisense sinathi ngesingisi wakhelwa bread and butter issues abothishela nangabe kungasakhulunywa bo bread and butter issues sibheke phela kusemalunga asukume awu nine bekunene ayisasiyo ke yasinathi sengiyeti inhlangano te
inkinga letimbili enkulu kakhulu eSwatini poverty unemployment ucasha vele kufanele simbuka konke lokho mase sinesikhathi mhlambe sibeka amaplan kodwa vele kufanele simsebenza kakhulu khona kulungisa letinkinga ethu le crisis likhona le crisis ya health ngitawubekisa ukuthi vele siya spenda 2.6 billion emalangeni la Swatini ku health 10% wale budget iconza khona le maphilisi siyakhokha 700 million between 6 and 700 million siyamthenga amaphilisi amaningi kakhulu amaphilisi lokho sithenga yona le nkinga nje la kuphi ngena amaphilisi khona akukhona ukuphuma legcineni la kuphi kuneliswati lomela amaphilisi akhe le dispensary shoti khona linkinga la ngakhathi ngitawubekisa nje lama gundwane vele baceda lamaphilisi eqaleni sisikhathi amagundwane ayidla amaphakethe emaphilisi nyalo amagundwane bakhulile bayidla amabhokisi bayidla amaloli lonke nje so vele kufanele sibone system lenkinga ethu la Swatini sesinaso lamakati ubamba amagundwane lamakati simnika kudla sinika lubisi kodwa hayi abamagundwane
bafunzi abanikedwe emakhono bangafunzi nje lokhu lokuyi-theory kuphela but basinabafunza baphume barede kokuthi bangakhona kokuthi bakhone ukudiphilisa lokusho ukuthi lokhu kufanele kucale e-tertiary level nakaphuma lo thishela aphume a-equipped kokuthi utawukhona kukhicida abafunzi baloku naye la kufole e-tertiary.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kufuna vele kubuke lo mthetho ulungiswe ucolwe lokuthi ungaluma njani lelibandla lingaholi mahala nje njengoba kwenteka nyalo icorruption isezingeni elisedu level kodwa bantu ababoshwa kude lokwentekako
sikaqali kuthola ibenefit ye-RSSTP liphupho lengosi lapho singakakhona ukuthi singemaswati sigijime sifike kulo the potential of that place isuka ibekulenye.
The public got a chance to pose questions to the presenters even today. On the news, Polile Mazia at Eswatini Rural Residence.
Eswatini from all walks of life have made submissions on national concerns in various sectors, which include health, corruption, land management, and unemployment.
Democracy isetshenziswa abantu labede kwabo sinekwethu ngetsini. Democracy ifana nesipele nawo imoto iphanjile.
Bekucela nje kulabakhubatekile ukuthi ake manje mayisathandaza ake manje sayicimete nje ngelitho linye lele linye selibheke la kulala bakhubatekile ukuthi manje kube khona ake lasakela yena le mabandleni noma khona ke le parliament nakwakhiwa live
nasabasa parliament carathi
shaya imithetho lemihle eParliament eshaya imithetho phindze bavule imisebenzi etinkhundleni iyouth itothola imisebenzi nayo ngoba labasha labaningi bafundzile kepha bathola imisebenzi kube ngiloko nje lokwentwana lama-MP babe sebabhebhetela udlame.
Sicela ndunankulu lokungeke kwenteke ngalakushoko ngalangakusho kuphambane nelive lokusho ukuthi he should not in any way contradict ingwenyama. Sicela ukuthi kube ngundunankulu futhi lotawukwati ukuthi ahlanganise sive sibuye sibe sinye.
Uma sithandaza, sinxusa, sicela, sibonga, sitawuprovoka ukuthi kube nekwesaba uNkulunkulu eMaswatini, number 1. Number 2, kube nekuthula. Kutawubuya phi na? Ngokwesaba uNkulunkulu ngokwenta umyalo.
Live sikhanze ukuthi belisime emasikweni nemhambo. Wakucela nawo lokho ngwenyama wathi ucela kube khona. Kepha namhlanje ngwenyama selisime emthethweni. Liyekele lo walakhaya umthetho kakhulu kulo wesilungu losebentako.
Mane uhulumende wakho letingezama nalabo gogo bababhadalele lama rates lamadolobheni.
Ucele kuthula la kuleli live la kaNgwane. Ngenhlakanipho uNkulunkulu lakuphe yona. Ngicela ukuthi uNkulunkulu akuphe emehlo ekubona. Kuthi kuthula angeke kube khona kuleli live silosikhulu kungaka addresswa indzaba yemhlaba kuleli live. Ikakhulu umhlaba nangu lekuthiwa maplazi noma ngema-possession land.
Asisakhona ukuthengisa nejiso likhandlela sekuthengisana esinye sikhumba mbangazini. Letitolo tetinkulu letikhona silosikhulu bathe sithengisa ne-airtime khanda sebakhuphile.
Lapha eceleni kwakhe le-adzinzo ibhodi yakhe. Sicela sisabe sandla. Lapha eceleni kwengosi sicela kube nabo somnotho ema-economists. Kube nebantu labakhona ukuhola ngelibhayibheli. Kube ne-retired judges. Hayi bantu bolongu wayindla lababuya le.
Besicela Mbakazithe lokuthi Mbakazithe lo ndvunankulu ubese uyahamba uyaletha inkhundleni ayobuka nalamakhaya lamphofu ukuthi angasitakala njani.
Libhubezi lokungilona lodwa leli la kuleli live la kaNgwane.
Senzethe umbhobho mnethu mntwana.
Mane lisiside lisihawukele lide litawuphakamisa imap lokungiyona ingiyona ema-boundaries abo-chief kuleli live.
Akabuyisele ndunankulu tawungena emasiko e-primary level.
Asibonge sikubongele ndlela amadoda kuthi lokwendile Eswatini itolo sibone intuthu namuhla sibona sive. Kuyasijabulisa silosikhulu. Kulethi inhlangano nemaphathi akukho lokunje. Awukhulumi emaphathini. Kukhuluma umuntu munye. Kepha namuhla ndlaliselwa sibona sive kukhona lesikwendayo. Emakhosi onke eSouth Africa bantu abengosi tikhulu wena kunene kude iembo la ikhona khona ikuleli live. EmaSwati akakonze na. Uma ningamfuni wakunene hambani niye ngale sitawuchintana sibuye ngala. Ngoba angeke nikumele lokwangale. Lokwangale kumetima. sikhuluma namuhla ayisi ushaya umthetho lothi nitawukhona kutimela ngikhulume ngeParliament. Ngiloko lesikwendako namuhla.
The Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority has signed a memorandum of understanding with SEDCO, Riaswa and the University of Eswatini, where they will collaborate towards the distribution of renewable energy.
The Mini Greens program is a program aimed at providing clean, reliable and affordable energy to millions in Africa, not only in Africa but Eswatini included. The ISERA CEO Skhumbuzo Tabete says the program will also create jobs, stimulate economic growth and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
These stakeholders are very key to ensuring a successful implementation of the mini grids program. We are going to roll it out initially at Mvundla community. Each one of these stakeholders have a unique role.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, Dr. Dlamini, says the partners must work in unity to achieve the goal.
We are really moving fast as a country in terms of energy. However, there are areas where we cannot get there, as with the grid EEC, maybe there are no roads and all that. That's where the mini grid comes in. So this project is for that. We are trying that everyone should not be left behind.
The partners who are signing the memorandum of understanding say the country has a mandate to reach the 2030 goal of doubling non-renewable energy.
We do want to see opportunities being created in the Kingdom of Eswatini, whereby our SMEs are being holistically supported.
We need to double the renewable energy in this country.
The current electrification status in Eswatini is estimated at 85%, whereby 90% of urban areas have access to electricity and 69% of the rural areas have access to electricity as well. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibu with Skhumbuzo Dlamini at the Halton Garden in Babane.
Local business organizations say they are doing all they can to create job opportunities. They said this when responding to submissions at the People's Parliament at Eswatini Rural Residence, where Eswatini decried about the high unemployment rate in the country.
The unemployment rate, especially among the youth, has been a major topic during Sibaya. Business organizations share their thoughts on what actions can be taken to increase job opportunities and what they are doing to ease the current situation.
It is very, very true, definitely, that all the jobs sometimes that we are talking about are concentrated in major metropolises of this country. And the rural areas find themselves deprived. And certainly we have, as we drive around this country, that most of these rural areas are economically are deprived in many, many, many ways. And we have, as Business Eswatini, through our Women's Wing, try to play our role in trying to mitigate that problem, especially in rural areas.
The chairperson of the Federation of Eswatini Business Community in the Hoho region, Johannes Manigela, says they need support from financial institutions if they have been given land by chiefs in their communities. He says currently this is not happening.
Angiyithole leya mali ngidowakhapha ngidocreateana ngumsebenzi la ngicashe lamaswati ngoba leti indzawo lemakhaya vele uyaya kushifa uyithole indzawo ukhaze sofuna kuyakha kuyidevelop kulukhunzu imali uyithola kuphi.
According to the year 2021 Labour Force Survey, the unemployment rate in the country currently stands at 33.3%, and amongst the youth it is at 58.2%. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
The Teaching Service Commission says it is following submissions made by Eswatini at the Sibaya and noting concerns over the hiring of teachers. The TSC says sometimes it cannot hire all teachers at once because of the influx of teachers and the low demand of some courses in schools. This has been said by the Executive Secretary Nhlanhla Dlamini when reacting to Sibaya submissions.
The executive secretary says the slow employment rate of teachers is an issue of supply versus the demand. He states that government is the highest employer of teachers, with 15,000 already having been employed. He continues to say there are too many institutions offering teaching, leading to an influx in some programs. On the issue of nepotism, which was also raised during Sibaya, Dlamini says the commission exercises transparency at all times.
Njalo ke sekungedeke incumbi yabothishela lokwenda lokuthi kungenteki lokuthi bonke labothishela kuthiwa ngala colleges babzobheke bangene kuleti kolo.
President of the Eswatini Principals Association, Welcome Mhlanga, says it is time students choose courses that are on demand.
As a student, kufanele ngihluphe lokuthi le market ngidadishe ngathi ukuthi naku
The Deputy Executive Secretary, Cindy Tembe, says science and mathematics courses take priority as they are taught every day in schools, so those teachers stand a better chance of being hired as opposed to history and English teachers, for example.
Ufuna kufundzisa lotawufundzisa singisi nehistory. Usaqasha umuntfu lone English history yemnyaka wa 2010. So tawubona ke nyalo si 2023 ukuthi nangembala leyo combination ayisahambi kanganani.
The Teaching Service Commission says it has engaged higher institutions of learning on the need to strategically patch subjects so that they meet the demand. They said they have been told by these institutions that they are not only supplying teachers to the Teaching Service Commissions, but other organizations outside the country. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Mbabane.
And in international news, Israel said on Thursday that a column of tanks and infantry had launched an overnight raid into Hamas-controlled Gaza, striking numerous targets before retreating to home soil.
The Israeli army called it preparation for the next stages of combat. In footage released by Israel's defense forces, tanks can be seen crossing into the Gaza Strip for another localized raid. The army says it struck a number of militants and infrastructure, including anti-tank missile launch posts, before moving out again. Israel has been conducting targeted incursions into the Strip since Hamas's October 7 attack, but is yet to carry out a wider ground offensive promised by the Prime Minister.
We are raining heavy fire down on Hamas. We've already killed thousands of terrorists, and that's only the beginning. At the same time, we're preparing for a ground incursion. I will not elaborate when, how, or with how many.
Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to crush the Islamist group by intervening in the Gaza Strip. But with more than 200 people being held hostage there, the international community is urging caution. The Wall Street Journal reported that the United States had even demanded Israel delay its offensive, which Joe Biden denied on Wednesday.
What I have indicated to him is that if that's possible to get these folks out safely, that's what he should do. It's their decision. But I did not demand it. I pointed out to him, if it's real, it should be done.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Washington is hoping to first deploy air defense systems to the region before any ground offensive. This is aimed at protecting U.S. troops in places like Iraq, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Syria. Since the start of the conflict, American soldiers have already been attacked by Iran-backed militias in Iraq and Syria.
The family of an Al Jazeera journalist have been killed in an Israeli strike on Gaza, the Qatar-based network said in a statement on Wednesday as war rages between Israel and Hamas. Viewer discretion is advised.
Throughout the day, Al Jazeera's Gaza bureau chief Wael al-Daddu was live on air reporting on the latest Israeli strikes, only to learn that one of those strikes killed his own family. He lost his wife, his 15-year-old son, his 7-year-old daughter and his grandson. Other loved ones, including another son and a granddaughter, were injured. More are missing under the rubble of their house in the Nusayrat camp in central Gaza.
A big tragedy, especially it's perpetrated against women and children. No more, no less than a calamity. Large numbers of people's houses bombarded. However, this is a custom of the Israeli occupation.
The Datu family had been sheltering in Nusayrat after fleeing their home in northern Gaza. The camp is south of the Wadi Gaza line in the area Israel has told Palestinians to go for their own safety. Wael al-Dadu's colleagues were overcome with emotion as they reported live on the deaths of his family.
Thinking that there could be a safe place.
Take your time, Safwat.
They said Wael al-Dadu, who has reported from Gaza for many years, was a pillar of journalism and his voice would go on. In a statement, Al Jazeera said it strongly condemned what it called Israel's indiscriminate targeting and killing of innocent civilians. Journalists have not been spared from the casualties in Gaza. The Committee to Protect Journalists says at least 24 reporters have been killed there since the beginning of the war, an unprecedented number.
U.S. President Joe Biden spoke on Wednesday, spoke out against retaliatory attacks by Israeli settlers against Palestinians in the West Bank in the aftermath of the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel. Settler violence against Palestinians has intensified since the Hamas attack, and Palestinians have been killed by settlers, according to Palestinian authorities. Rights groups say settlers have torched cars and attacked several small Bedouin communities, forcing them to evacuate to other areas.
The war may be centered in Gaza, but here in the West Bank, Palestinians are suffering consequences as well.
After October 7th, the situation became dangerous and frightening for us.
Abu Bashar says 5 days after Hamas's brutal attack on Israel, his village in the West Bank was attacked by Israeli settlers, army, and police. They were beaten and handcuffed.
After half an hour, they told us, "You have 1 hour to leave. Take all your animals and leave. You can't take anything else, like water, food, or cars, only the animals. And we have to leave on foot."
Violence in the West Bank has intensified since the Hamas attack. Authorities there say more than 100 Palestinians have been killed by settlers. Property has also been destroyed and several communities forced to evacuate. On Wednesday, U.S. President Joe Biden condemned these retaliatory attacks.
I continue to be alarmed about extremist settlers attacking Palestinians in the West Bank. That pouring gasoline on fire is what it's like. This was a deal. The deal was made, and they're attacking Palestinians in places that they're entitled to be. And it has to stop.
Palestinians in the West Bank have been losing control of land for decades. This map shows the area controlled by Palestinians in 1967, compared to in 2019, according to the United Nations. Violence in the West Bank threatens to open a new front in the current war, already the deadliest for both sides of the 5 Gaza wars.
French President Emmanuel Macron is proposing that a global coalition fighting the Islamic State group in Iraq and Syria widen its scope to fight the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Experts are skeptical about the idea's practicality.
During his visit to the Middle East this week, in the wake of the October 7th Hamas attacks that killed 1,400 Israelis, French President Emmanuel Macron made headlines by suggesting that the international coalition to defeat the Islamic State group widen its scope to also target Hamas.
On the basis of this experience, let us build with all the states which are ready to help. Today, Israel, but all the countries in the region, to fight against terrorist groups, including Hamas, to share information, to identify these terrorists and neutralize them.
Macron's office clarified that the proposal was not about sending troops on the ground, but that it rather would involve sharing intelligence and combating the financing of terrorism. The U.S. State Department designated Hamas a terrorist group in 1997. The European Union and other Western countries also consider Hamas to be a terrorist organization. But Hamas has received verbal support from Turkey and Arab countries such as Qatar and is backed by Iran. Bruce Hoffman, an expert in counterterrorism with the Council on Foreign Relations, said he doubts Macron's idea will win much support among Arab countries because of the outrage over Israel's retaliatory attacks on Gaza. He spoke to VOA via Zoom.
I think given how messy Gaza is now with the destruction that's been caused, with the displacement of populations, it would be very difficult for many countries to commit to any kind of active role in Gaza's future or in countering Hamas.
Catherine Zimmerman, a counterterrorism expert with the American Enterprise Institute, told VOA that finding any practical solution to stopping Hamas terror would be a huge challenge. She spoke to VOA via Zoom.
It's a very difficult needle to thread, and I actually think it might be impossible with Hamas itself, where the group's mission statement, it's not to advance the Palestinian cause, but in there is the idea of destroying Israel. And so it would literally mean transforming what Hamas is in order to deal with this terrorism problem.
U.S. President Joe Biden has repeatedly called for another step that Macron has also backed, a revival of the two-state-based Israeli-Palestinian peace process once the Gaza war is over.
A massive manhunt was underway on Thursday for a gunman who a local official said killed at least 22 people and wounded many more in a mass shooting.
As people run from a building in Lewiston, Maine, emergency services attend to victims at the scene and workers at this hospital line up beds ready for their arrival. Police responded to shootings in 2 locations Wednesday night. Both a bar and a bowling alley were targeted, about a 10-minute drive from one another. Authorities released this image of the suspect inside the bowling alley. He's been named as 40-year-old Robert Card and is still on the run.
Card is considered armed and dangerous. He is a person of interest, however, and that's what we'll label him at moving forward until that changes. If people see him, they should not approach Card or make contact with him in any way. A vehicle, which was a vehicle of interest in this incident, was located in Lisbon, and we are now also asking residents in Lisbon to shelter in place.
According to a police bulletin seen by US media, Card was a trained firearms instructor. It also said he'd recently reported mental health issues, including hearing voices, and threatened to open fire at an army base. Authorities say public schools in the area will be closed Thursday as a precaution. The White House says US President Joe Biden spoke to Maine's governor by phone in the wake of the attack and has offered full federal support.
In our sports news, Mbabane Highlanders coach Tumsani Makanya says he believes the team will soon get positive results. Makanya has said this after seeing his team suffer a 3-2 defeat against Royal Leopard at the Mavuso Sports Centre, MTN Premier League.
Mbabane Highlanders is currently not enjoying a good spell of results. In the last 5 games that they have played so far, they have lost 3 games and won 2. The most recent defeat starting with Ilovo beating them, and they have now lost another game against Royal Leopard in a game that they lost by 3-2. Highlanders goals came from the feet of Musa Dlamini, and Royal Leopard's goals were scored by Lungelo Tabetz, Banele Shong and Smanga Masangane. All goals were scored in the first half of the highly entertaining game. The Highlanders coach, Tumsani Makanya, has not yet given up hope, as he says he believes his team will be able to get good results very soon.
Yeah, as you can see, they played a very improved game. Going forward, they are improving game. Meaning, kutawulunga kancane kancane kudawulunga. I know the results is needed, but I like the way the team they respond ngakhona.
Royal Leopards head coach Aaron Matsebula says the game was a difficult game.
The game but sanelechalo 2 goals. That's it. After that, I could play a team was a connection. After the red card, it was always going to be difficult. It's in the but I told the boys about 50-50 because they are short. As long as they're pulling around, they're not going to score. It was a tough game.
Another game saw Mbabane Swallows beating Singizini by a goal to naught, a goal that was scored by Ayanda Kadlela. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi. Mavuso Manzini.
It's 28 minutes before 8 o'clock. We've come to the end of our news. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll be speaking to our sports journalist, Patizwe Msibi.
.35 minutes after 7 kwelo singena ku sports segment njengoba kungilesihlanu sinensathelo emsakato yetemidlalo Patizwe Msibi. Leta sithi nje kusihambisa kubuka yona imidlalo lebekhona kuleli viki nasitayibona kule mphela sonto. Ndlondlo, welcome to the program. Asiqale la khaya, siyayisibukela khaya uyati ke wena sithi English Premier League, sibukena la South Africa, sibukena bola league, but la khaya action bekhona this week unlike the other leagues. We did see Madlenya versus Leopards, Swallows versus Green Mamba, Ilovo, Young Buffaloes. Maneng lama game, maneng kakhulu, but I want to look at Lelvig lesisuka kulo le.
The midweek.
Yeah, midweek. Manzini Wanderers, Eswatini United, that was pre this week, but Young Buffaloes versus Moneni Pirates, I think we can start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Young Buffaloes, Moneni Pirates, Swallows versus Singizini. For me, that hurt because was actually winning favor in Singizini. Second Highlanders, the Royal Leopards. I think that one is still fresh. Memories at was cool. Obviously, Royal Leopards getting that victory, upsetting a lot of people.
But we came to Switzerland first half yayo beyimnanzi beyinemagoli because yashintsha nga 3-2
yashintsha ngale final score
3-2 5 goals go first 45 minutes something long we every day ebholeni so bekuyigame lengasho ukuthi very highly entertaining from both teams. Royal Leopard, yes, they were clinical emapalini because bakhona ukuthi every chance abayitholako beyigcinela egolini, and Baban Highlanders, they try to fight every time iLeopard iscorisha, they were trying to fight. At some point it was 2-0 yabuya iHighlander yakora lokuqala yakora iLeopard kwaba ngu-3-1 yaphinze yabuya yashaya iHighlanders, and unfortunately for them yabe ithole red card iHighlander just before the half-time break. Lokwenda ukuthi ingasakhona ukuthi ibuye second half idlale njalo lokube idlala second half. I want to believe ukuthi kube let nombolo at sangathi shintsha for iHighlanders, we were going to see more goals because iHighlanders, it tells you ukuthi betaqhubeka attack trying to find that equalizer, and then by doing that opening up spaces lengemove ukuthi iLeopard nayo ithole lamanye ama chances. So it was always going to be an open game for both teams. So yagcina ke iphele ngayo leyo 3-2 kude goal langena second half. Highlanders, even though they were 10 men down, bakhona kutshengisa a very, very brave performance on the day. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't get that winning goal.
Yeah, I'm looking at how they started the season. 5 games la sebawadlalile bobabili. Siyayibona Royal Leopards ikhonile kuwina kathathu. Highlanders has only won twice. Would you think Highlanders is going to do a better job going forward, just based on your analysis? Are they going to play better? The other teams that are ahead of them, Gule Lock standing, they're really playing really well.
I think for them, the coaches will have to improve.
Okay, it's not coaching staff.
Yeah, now Highlander, if on paper, they have one of the best squads.
Is it?
In the league, on paper. They have a very, very good team. And now it's only a matter of go to the coach, find the right combination, find the right system to use at his disposal.
Sure.
Because the introduction of Popo into the team, it has changed so much in terms of the way they have to play now.
And maybe a bit of analysis on Pupu, the way the team. Obviously, chemistry team is supposed to take some time. Pupu ungena season say not much training with the team. But a lot of people are praising him, the way that he's playing and the way that the team is accommodating him.
So if they're praising him, you should watch him.
Yeah.
I'm convinced sitting here, I don't understand bias and all that, but sitting here, Popo, there is no team that he cannot walk straight into the first 11 of any team laughing. Good team he'll go straight to the first 11. Good the team, I include the national team as well.
He's that good.
He's that good.
Wow.
But the problem is,
you're telling me he's a top 11, top 10, because Stambekele goalkeeper, top 10 player in the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
At his position, he's number 1.
Okay.
At his position.
Without being biased.
I'll prefer on that.
Training.
If he trains every day, commits every day, then you have one of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
Popo, if his career didn't have issues and he's not playing, Begato considered as one of the best players to ever come out of Eswatini. But technical wise, technically, if umbuga individually, you can rate him as that.
Wow, interesting. And he's always been that. I can attest to that. Mfunzana Evelyn Perring.
Okay.
It was him and Mtokozi Slachwago, General.
Yeah.
They were outstanding, both of them. They would just change the game. It's just beautiful to see. They've catapulted their careers. But about discipline, hopefully that's going to change. I want us to shine a bit of spotlight. Obviously, we did see the visuals by the way. But good match lenyela lengfuna siyikhulumisa kancane Nsingizini Hotspurs. Nsingizini kuma tournaments is playing exceptionally well, Patizo. What is your analysis, love?
Momo Cup, which was played like 4 weeks back, they were brilliant. The first game, playing very well. Second game, played very well, and actually won the tournament. Now, Bayagle game kule Momo Cup, they haven't won any game. League. They had 3 games. Bangakaseba win about draw. The positive was Abakaseba as much. Now they come to the league. They playing Young Buffaloes. In the weekend, Bahamba win 1-0 against Young Buffaloes. You're thinking, oh, okay, they've turned the corner. But I figure I want to believe they had revenge in mind. So we have to get revenge for our fans and all that. And they went on and did it because Mauboa would say, winning our notes and first half 20 minutes. They could have scored more, as a matter of fact, in Pavanasolos. They were clearly the better team. They were the better team. Yeah. It wasn't the most entertaining game, but if you were to choose a better team, judging from what you're seeing, Isolos was the better team.
Young Buffaloes versus Monini Pirates. Young Buffaloes was a clear win against Monini Pirates. But here's the conversation: is Young Buffaloes going to be a top 5 player? This is not even top 5, top 3 team this season.
They can. They have the players, but this is I see only consistent enough because Jalo Station Jibego Kala Pass won singing yes, and singing bait for winning that should tell you something. Yeah. So if they can turn the corner, consistency, but be consistent enough, they can even challenge for a league. The team is a Monene Pirates because they've played 5 games so far. They've lost all 5 games. Okay. They lost 4 and they drew against Mountain Wanderers 2-2. So they're not playing well. As a matter of fact, they are not winning their games.
They haven't won a single game.
They are playing well, but they're not winning. That's what I was trying to say. But game, you think the better team is winning.
So they've been unlucky.
I don't know if we can call it unlucky, but yeah, it's been tough.
Clearly, based on what you're saying, they play beautiful football.
Yeah.
It just doesn't translate to goals. Converter.
Yeah.
But here's my conversation of Notice Benaunyalo. If we look at the first position, we see Madlenya. They've played 4 games, but we're not 4. They have a game advantage over every other team that is under them, but they are still position 1.
Yeah. And that game in hand is against Mbabanasalos, which should be played next Wednesday.
Is that a statement for Madlenya? Should they walk out with their head high at Vele? You see how Manchester City has been behaving over the past few seasons.
No, Madlenya's if we are, I'd say, a small team. If Baselele get maximum points, that's Ngomangabe so humble because these teams in most cases can and squad CEO even as a pension, it's the same quality. So Makamba is in for fatigue and all that, they cannot keep up. But if we are a team like Madlenya, we set up so by the time we call fatigue, when I saw very right, I was a relegation. So then top 8. Top 8. But for now, we can only say that. But if Bakubega play the first half of the season, Batleliga comfortably, will be forced to introduce in the championship talks. Will be forced because and it's not just they are getting results. They can play as well. You can actually see what they are trying to do.
Yeah, I want to see the results against Mbabane Swallows. We'll talk about that next week. Let's go into match day 10 of 38 in the English Premier Leagues. Now, first place, we see Tottenham Hotspurs going against Crystal Palace, Lela Park number 11. That should be an easy win for Tottenham. But if not, should they be unlucky? Arsenal, ilange move 2 points with Tottenham. And they are playing against a team like Ngrizole. Sheffield. What are we expecting this weekend? Are we expecting Arsenal to be lucky enough to, taunt Tottenham? What are we expecting?
First of all, the Tottenham, they're playing very well. I don't see them not winning this coming weekend. I don't see them not winning. And Arsenal, speaking of lucky, I've seen Arsenal play.
Yeah.
It's not luck.
Yeah,
they are playing well.
But
they won this.
Yeah.
Last season, back just by few games, laba ekugcineni kwa-season, but the players bosakha, if they're still 21, ukutshela ukuthi they have a young squad, but if bakhula labadlali ngendlela labenta ngayo, they are gaining experience. So next time, if they try again this season, who knows what they will do. So far, I wouldn't call it luck. I watched them against Chelsea when they came from a two goals down to force a draw against Chelsea.
That was hurtful. It was on Saturday, back in the UNESCO graduation, and I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm enjoying the graduation parties where Silida 2-0.
Yeah.
Celebrate
but and Arsenal
to
came.
Find out that Sesestro with it was painful.
Champions mentality.
Yeah.
So Arsenal, so don't write them off. Go to the championship top. Yeah.
Here's the conversation though. We cannot write them off, and I know they are not very concerned about Tottenham Hotspurs. We know Tottenham is position 1. Yeah. They're concerned about Manchester City. Who Mabom Balingen. Balingen both on 21 points. They've played 9 matches. Man City has won 7. Arsenal has only won 6. Should Arsenal be concerned about Man City Pella and not be concerned about Tottenham going forward? And as we look at this weekend going forward, Manchester City will also play against Manchester United and Manchester Derby, which is going to be a very big game.
I wanna Sfiso right now. Good, it's go Premiership. If you remember very well, Manchester City last season, they same for a point in Arsenal at some point, but back on back. So, Lana, it's a matter of getting maximum points every time you play. Gungan go team and compete in space and compete in Manchester City or Liverpool. But team the same wako ushayo no Quebec because I'm a team now abogindlela yawo.
Yeah.
Because it's catch up and 40 wahlala lapha etulu ke uba target. Because every team if not compete now, every team if not shower, everyone if not space right now because it's lapha etulu, everyone if not Arsenal because they are the top team and they know ukuthi mangishaya space ngashaya Arsenal ngashabo City confidence abadlaleni bami cool, so that will be better for me going to face the other teams.
Let's look at the rest of the fixture.
Yeah.
Obviously we're kicking off the weekend today. Crystal Palace is at Tottenham at 9. We've spoken about that one. Tottenham wants to secure that win. Focus game should they not, these two teams, Manchester City and Arsenal, catch up. Ngifuna get the biggest games, obviously the Manchester Derby.
Manchester Derby is the biggest game in the world this weekend.
Yeah.
Is it?
It should.
Is it not the same?
Rugby, okay, rugby outside of rugby.
Outside. No, I mean in football.
Yeah.
But is it not the Classico weekend this weekend?
Oh.
Yeah. So
we'll talk about. But still, you know, the English Premier League has a spectacle. There's something about it, and it's Manchester. It's the Manchester. It's not a London derby. I see the London. It's a Manchester derby. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be the biggest game this weekend. We could argue that.
It is, not unless the El Clasico is playing this weekend, because if El Clasico plays, then that's the biggest game this coming weekend. But it's going to be a very good, interesting game because over time, Manchester City might win against United, you win Bamba, and then if Manchester United wins, that comes out 2-1. 3-1, 3-2, so small margin. But if Manchester City wins, they usually do it in a big way.
Manchester United is given a 19% winning probability. Man City is given 58%.
Yeah.
Is this based on last head-to-head? What is this based on?
Everything.
Because
last head-to-head, even form currently. Manchester City, they are in a better form than United, so you understand why Bangaya Nakusalo.
Fabrice likes saying if it's a derby, you want to forget about all those things and just focus on the rivalry between the two teams.
Yeah, they always say derby in a history. You just go there if you want to go on the day. But Manchester, the scales. City ingetulu mabuka even in the last 5, 6, 7 games Manchester City they always have the upper hand. Kutaba khona now moments lapho United itafike iwine khona.
Yeah, in fact Manchester United iwine kanye in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings.
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah, and the times when Manchester City won, they really won.
They're winning big. They're winning big. Yeah, they always win big.
Interesting. I want us to talk about the La Liga. We will be seeing visuals very soon of the fixtures. Big games this weekend. But
There's actually one big game this weekend in the world. The El Clasico.
Yeah, but it's unfair to do that because we do
But it's
have
not.
I mean, I want us to talk about the other games, and I'll tell you why I want us to talk about the other games. Here's the reason. Real Madrid is currently position 1, but this team Girona.
Swiss, it doesn't matter. Clearly, if Barcelona or Real Madrid are not winning it, the third most likely team to win it is Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
And
that's a fair assessment because whichever team wins occupies the first position in the log stand, on the log stand.
So right now the biggest game is Barcelona versus Real Madrid. I mean, we talked about Manchester United and Manchester City.
Yeah.
It's a big game, right?
Right.
But Manchester City is not even big in Manchester. So there's only one big team in Manchester.
Yeah.
So Lana, but teams are big.
Right.
Not just in Spain, but everywhere. You'll find huge
Let's
following.
talk about it. Real Madrid, they've played 10 matches, they've won 8.
Yeah.
They've drew 1 and they've lost 1. Barcelona, they've played 10 matches as well. They've won 7, less by 1 when compared to Real Madrid. They've drew 3 times, which is 2 times more than Real Madrid, and they haven't lost a single game. That is where they've gotten their competitive edge against Real Madrid. So going into this weekend, on your assessment based on how these two teams have played, ngiyiphi team lotayini get win? Angifuni isikhuluma ngehistory kakhulu, but nje recently this season.
It's going to be difficult, but I can. And the fact that Barcelona in injuries to their key players. Going to affect Nabo. And on the other side, Jude Bellingham has been on form for club and country. So it's a very difficult game. Barcelona is playing at home. I'm tempted to Leo win because I've watched them in the Champions League under Xavi. They are playing well. They are playing like the Barcelona we used to know, but they are getting there to the top form. But right now, it's going to be tight. But Barcelona can actually win it.
But it's 9 p.m. Central African time this Saturday. Sibona South Africa is too many lekwenda umlando.
Yeah.
For me personally, they are already the greatest rugby team of all time based on how many times they've won the World Cup and how they have played, and especially what they did the game last weekend. The conversation is the game tomorrow. What are their chances? Are they really going to win against the All Blacks?
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Meaning, lama games le South Africa semi-finals and quarter-finals. Very, very, very tight margins. Laba winning now, and they're coming. It's a comeback. Games now. And if you're gonna do that against New Zealand. Don't allow New Zealand to lead you so much with so much points, because go back half. So it's going to be very difficult for South Africa. May avoid later. Yes, I know when the bomb squad. So they also like scrums. Could see scrums because they can actually defend and they actually use that to their advantage because they have very, very strong big players. They're gonna do that, and of course the conversation in the rugby world is the substitute split, the 7-1. They've been complaining about it, but Rasmus has said no. I
want us to look at these scores, Patizwe. Obviously, we've seen the recent games where South Africa, the last two, but the games before those, one could say they were cruising nicely. And if you look at the scores.
Yeah, they were cruising nicely.
Against which teams?
Exactly.
I know that could be the conversation, but also for New Zealand as well. Against which teams? Because the way that New Zealand has been playing against which teams? Because if you look at how South Africa has played against England and France, those are not easy teams.
You know, if in New Zealand they are to beat South Africa, they have to go ask Ireland how they did it, because Ireland beat South Africa in the group stages. Bakona go to Baboye and now when that the same thing living in face. If you go ahead, don't let them come back. Yeah, now my results are in New Zealand. Now they were cruising. Same as South Africa, the opponent.
Except the quarter-final.
except quarterfinals. But now you look at it, could see they lost against France, who eventually lost to South Africa, but Bagma finals. Now the scoreline it's kind of big, but again, good enough to go with South Africa anyway.
Just based because South Africa is like home for us as well.
With that mentioned, and also the fact of they were impressive in the games that I forced them. Yeah, they were very impressive.
That's a fair assessment. I'm also rooting for South Africa based on the fact that I would say character was able tested on the last 2 games. They go into this game, they've gone through everything. Thank you so much, Patizwe, for your time. It's going to be an interesting weekend. New Zealand versus South Africa, 9 p.m. Central African time. Stade de France, 80,023 capacity stadium will be full, and the whole world will be watching that game, as well as the El Clasico and the Manchester Derby. Let's go for an ad break. We will wrap up the show with Lungalele very shortly.
We at Eswatini Television Authority are committed to observing the Eswatini Communication Commission's Broadcasting Code of Conduct.
Under the code, we are committed to broadcast news that is current, free from hate speech, accurate, balanced, and fair.
From politics to business, health, agriculture, courts, and global news, we bring you the latest updates as they happen, when they happen.
We cover all the sporting codes from the football pitch to the chessboards.
This is Eswatini TV News.
Right, it's 58 minutes after 7. Very soon sibe singena sibayeni sisanda yona build up ukuthi umsebenzi weParliament yesive iyachubeka esibayeni. Ngiyakhumbula lo luthi itolo HG utsinzinzabe ukuthi kutabane likhulumi leti ngama-20 I believe kuphinde bangakhona ukufika lapho ngenzaba esikhathi, so sinelethemba ukuthi sive lo mhla siyitawu sibamba isikhathi encenye nje labanye bayasibukela bakhona. Awu bongosi sicelani ishakutele umsebenzi awusheshe uqale okuma proceedings atawuhamba kahle ngale kwalo. I think we've come to the end of the show.
And of course we will be broadcasting again namuhla utabe kwendeka khona indasi elusithini, so do stay tuned ka YouTube kanjalo nakusikuchana na ku DStv channel 286. Nibe nempela somvulenhle nalibusisekile usiyani mande ngizala.
The following program is proudly brought to you by Micro Projects, a unit under the Ministry of Economic Planning and Development, in conjunction with the